I think this one is probably going to be a short one, or at least maybe it'll just be one that's easy to edit. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about general auditions. This is another industry-specific one. More specific than acting, this is about theater acting. General auditions are auditions that theater companies kind of put out to the general industry community. I prefer community because I like it to be a community, though it is still more of an industry, I think. Where it isn't auditions for specific shows, it's auditions to show the artistic director, the person who kind of programs the season, what you can do. Some companies, and most companies, used to ask for 2 contrasting monologues. I've seen a couple in Winnipeg recently where it's 1 monologue, which is great. Some is 1 monologue and a song if they do musicals. But basically you prepare a monologue, usually 1 or 2 monologues, usually 2 minutes or less, and you go in and you do the monologue or monologues for the artistic team at the theater company. And the idea is, if they like what you do, then they're more likely to call you in for show-specific audition. You'll get sides, which is like a scene or a couple scenes from the show you're auditioning for, and you'll prepare it, and you'll come in and you'll do it with a reader they've hired, so someone who's like over there, and you're like, oh, I'm doing this scene now. And the reader will give you a line, and you'll be like, oh, my next line is this. I don't know why I did that. The reason this is a problem is it's a lot of work. It's a lot of unpaid work. You spend your time preparing a monologue. For some people, that's more time. For some people, that's less time. So you're basically doing sort of like a more in-depth job interview than like most entry-level jobs. So, I mean, if an entry-level job asked me to do the amount of work I do for an audition for an interview, I would not do that interview. But you're doing an interview in hopes of doing another interview or audition in hopes of getting a job. Sure, there are industries who ask you to do a lot of work for an interview, which if they're asking you to do work for them, shouldn't you be getting paid? I think so. Like an executive level job, you might have even more in-depth application process. But those jobs tend to be permanent. It's not a few months of work. Now I get theater companies, not for profits. They don't have as much money as a business. But there's got to be ways to work around it. Yeah, they're asking artists who, at least in my city, there's not a lot of artists, actors, who can make a living purely off theater or film or a combination of the two. So you're expected to, every season, do show-specific auditions. You don't generally ask you to do general auditions every year. I guess up to a certain point. When you're just starting out, they might. When you're kind of building your artistry, they might ask you, oh, you weren't great last year, so come back and do generals again this year. They're not going to say you weren't great, but that's essentially what it is. It's a lot of work for the chance of getting a temporary job. And on a side note, I'm talking about this because this is my community. I don't think this is the worst out there. I just think it's bad and could be improved. Maybe for every show-specific audition, they invite a certain number of new artists they haven't seen before. Maybe take more extensive notes than they might otherwise, or treat it like a general where you're not really considering them for the role. And you could even let them know we're taking this as a general audition. There is a chance that you're going to go blow them away and you'll get cast. Who knows? There are certainly people who are talented enough to do that out there. I mean, I certainly wasn't when I started. Or maybe budget paying a few artists to come in and do a general audition with every round of auditions or something. I don't know. In late-stage capitalism, where people are having a hard time making ends meet, being an artist becomes a privilege. And barriers like this, and the way the union creates well, I've got the other video. Oh, I'm going to do the thing. See my video on unions here. See my video on headshots here. It's just another barrier. People who are trying to make ends meet as prices go up and wages don't have less and less time to commit to the audition process. The people who are running companies who are getting paid to do this could probably do a little bit more work to make this whole thing more accessible. There are solutions besides putting the work on the people who are trying to break through those barriers. I call them gatekeepers for a reason. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm probably going to cut that out. Ugh.